Are you sure? Welcome, everyone. Call the meeting to order. The consideration for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Josh,
Second.
Don, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Consent items 5A, B, and C. Any questions?
So moved.
None.
Second.
Don Hellerson, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. We'll expect from Jason like a 10, 12 page report from there.
Sure.
Very good. Okay, new business, 13A ambulance bid, Brent. JD, whoever's come out.
Good evening. First I need to ask, do you guys have copies of the bids and things in the folders?
They have the cover sheets on them.
Only the cover sheet,
Just the cover sheets?
nothing itemized, Brent.
Okay. So I will,
You can turn your mic closer to you, so it's activated, great, thank you.
so what I have here is I have, copies of the bids that was submitted. And I've annotated some details on there for the differences, and then we can talk about them. I did make copies for everyone, so I didn't know you guys wouldn't have them in your folders. But,
It's okay.
so, what I'll do is I'll pass this around. Basically, this first one here is the road rescue. And then the other two, or the other one is the North Central ambulance with the specs which you guys didn't receive, I believe, or so you didn't receive the specs for the OSA, so I have those. So those are those.
Is the road rescue numbers?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the specs. So, when you're looking at the bids, I know there's a big discrepancy as far as the price,
$22,000.
$22,000.
That'd be great.
but we'll break that down.
That's good.
If you look at the road rescue bid itself, on the sheet it says there's a $237,000. At the end of that bid, you will see the delivery, the SADC fee, the graphics fee, there's a cleaning prep fee, the Stryker power conversion kit fee, radio installation, and then there's an Orlando trip to go inspect the rig at the factory, if so used. That's neither here nor there. The difference between that and the,
Does the 237 include all of what you just said?
yes,
Okay, very good.
that's the
Everything.
total. So this is what the North Central ambulance bid doesn't have in it.
Okay.
It doesn't have the graphics. It doesn't have the,
Just a minute, how much is the graphic?
okay, the graphics is $5,500.
Okay. All right.
Well, we're talking the difference here. The differences that aren't the stuff that isn't in North Central, or the stuff that was in the bids. Specs.
Yes. The
So
thing-
basically, this bid didn't meet specs.
Correct. Well, the thing that, if you look at the two bids, one was very professional and one is not very professional, as far as very detailed. The road rescue bid is very detailed. Now, I sent the North Central ambulance the very same specs off the road rescue. I sent that to every company that I looked at. And only 3 actually sent me back partial details. And then the North Central ambulance, they sent me the specs that Nani and Josh have right now.
There's some of the other ones wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so then you have it over there.
So to answer Don's question, does the North Central not?
No, it meets the specs. The additional fees over there are additional items that have to be added on
Okay,
to the bid.
to make them.
They just did
Apple
the
to apple.
detail bid, where the North Central didn't do the detail on the additives.
Does it make a difference between a 2017 chassis and a 2016?
3%.
Because that's what one is over there, what North Central's a 2017 and the other one's a 2016.
That's correct. And so I'll give you a short summary of pros and cons versus each, and I'll give you the final detail of exactly what the difference is in the two bids. So, bottom line is it's a $5,000 difference. That's what it will come out to be after I explain.
And who's higher?
The road rescue is $5,000 higher.
That's Everest.
Which one is road rescue?
That's the Everest.
Okay. That's $5,000 higher or lower?
Total higher. At the
Okay.
end of the day, everything included, when you compare apples to apples, it'll be $5,000 more.
Okay. Go over it.
Okay, so first and foremost, we'll start off with the Striker Power Cot. If you looked in the bid, that's a $21,000 addition to the ambulance. Now the Striker Power Cot, their power load system, uses our current cot that we have, and what it does is it basically loads the patient for you. So it takes away the back work that it takes to lift a patient into the ambulance itself. And I know the city, when you're taking into effect workman's comp and the issues that the city's had, this has been, it's been around for about 5 years now. And I know during some inspections and things that it's been noted that this would be a wonderful addition to your ambulance service. And it explains it in there, and I do have a short video if you guys want to see a video of how it works. So that's in both bids. Now we have to have a conversion kit for our cots to use that, and that's a $2,500 conversion. That is not on the North Central ambulance bid. Okay. The graphics is an additional $5,500. Okay. And then radio installation. Road Rescue put in a bid of $800, and when I called North Ambulance, they would do it for $1,000. If you went to Midwest, or not Midwest Wireless, but Alpha Wireless, they're around $1,000 to $1,200 for installation. So if you add all those together, that's a $9,000 difference between the two bids that you would have to incorporate into the North Central bid anyways. So that brings you to $215,000 for the North Central. Now, as far as upgrades to the vehicle, if you're looking at the specs, the ones that Josh has here, this is for the Road Rescue. Some of the equipment we use, the bags and things that we use on a normal call, are pretty large. So when you're looking at compartment 8 here, the Road Rescue, the inner dimension of this doorway here is 20 inches.
What?
20 inches. Our bag is 17. So that works. When you go to the Osage ambulance, that's only an interior of 17 inches. So the interior dimension is 17 inches.
What's the door?
The door is 20. The interior is 17. On this one, the exterior is 22 and the interior is 20. Okay. So the upgrade on the Osage would be $3,600 to make that compartment larger to fit our bags. So if you add that $3,600 onto the other $9,000, you're going to come up with a grand total of $227,600. That, in a nutshell, is the difference between the two rigs.
That's $10,000 bucks.
We're lay people sitting here. I have never run an ambulance. I guess when you go out and you put specs out for a bid, are you saying that Everest added more than what was in the original specs?
No, that's what I gave Everest.
Okay,
And then that's the bid.
so then North Central came back, did not have the stuff to meet specs?
Not what I asked for. Without the upgrade, they told me what the upgrade would be. But they didn't enter, that's on, the bid isn't
But bottom line, they didn't come in with a complete bid.
correct.
That's what I'm saying is if you let bids out, the open bids, not they specs, why they even consider it.
Rule of thumb, they just get tossed out.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah, why should we have to go back and say, well, you should have had this,
So
this
is the
and that?
bottom line 5,000 or 10?
It's 5,000.
Steve?
Well, he's right, if he doesn't meet specs, we have a right to disregard it. That's our election.
Okay.
We can-
What do we have budgeted for this?
Or don't we?
This comes out of the capital equipment fund.
We don't have a specific number, we
Oh,
only had
okay,
it in
you
our,
didn't.
we had it in the budget committee for last July, for this year. We
Okay.
didn't put specific numbers because we didn't know what it was. We specifically for, fire department equipment and ambulance, we do a split from capital equipment and, certificate of indebtedness because it's for the overall community.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, you can take the $22,000 off of the bid itself with a power load system. Okay, that's just an accessory.
They both have that.
They
right?
both have it, that's correct.
Will that system work on uneven ground?
Yes, to a certain degree. I mean, it's a power system, so let's say if you're parked on an uphill angle, it would make it harder.
Or how about the ground being not level?
No, it'll still work, because even if the ground's not level, even without the system, you still have to load the cot into the rig.
Right, you're actually doing the lifting, I don't know what this lift
Right.
looks like.
What it does is you basically just drive it in. It's a set of forks, as you can see there, if you go to that very last page and flip that back over. So you have those set of forks that hang off the end there. That's the guide. It rolls under that, and then it grabs it, you hit the button, and then it picks it up, and then you can push it in with one finger.
I've seen this system at work and it's slick. I've seen it work.
I had them put it in the bid just for the sake of,
Where does it have a storage capacity inside underneath the ambulance?
no,
or-
it sits right on the floor inside.
So it'll slide up and sit on,
So like when you slide the cot up, if you've ever seen anyone been in the ambulance, you're gonna put the cot in, it's basically right underneath the cot. It doesn't take up any more space than what's already there.
yeah,
Now, that does mean, we can get into triple K standards, which is the EMS standards for, emergency vehicles. Minnesota doesn't follow triple K standards, but both of these ambulances do follow triple K standards. Without the power load system installed, no ambulance meets triple K standards. Right now, we currently run a antler system, which is just a steel bar bent in a W, which basically just cradles the, cot when you put it in there. It's not made to withstand I think it's anything more than 15 G crash, where the triple K standard is 26,000 Gs. So, safety wise, it's much more safe for the patient. That's what in the ambulance itself.
well, I just think if you're looking at North Central and you're having to add in the stuff that you asked for, I don't even why we're looking at it, I mean,
Yeah,
even if it comes in $5,000 cheaper, it meet
didn't meet
these
specs.
specs, so.
It should
And
be.
all the other companies did not send me specs back. These are the only two that actually sent me official specs.
And the ambulance crew members all would recommend the road rescue.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
we've been using Road Rescue here in St. James for 20 plus years. So we have we're very familiar with them, we have a good working relationship with them. They carry great warranty, his services is excellent,
And that's your recommendation.
that is our recommendation, yes.
And that's, they're out of Minnesota too.
Yes, their sub-factory where they do the maintenance and installs is up in St. Paul,
Okay.
South St. Paul.
And Steve, if they would happen to come back and say, hey, we were $22,000 cheaper, our answer to that was that they didn't meet specs.
And we have a right to reject all bids anyhow, it's right,
Okay.
We're good.
And this is straight out, Brent.
Yeah.
So it's a straight out purchase, you're not trading anything in.
Negative, we're not trading anything in, we still have the opportunity to sell the other ambulance, however we see fit, or how the city sees fit, so.
So we can put that out for bids like we did the fire truck and see what we can
Did we get anything before on the other one? Did we traded or sold it?
I've been told it's worth about $5,000. Not much.
Can you elaborate on that,
It could bring.
It could bring more, it could, yes.
that Orlando two
That,
thousand
he
miles?
puts that in every bid. That's so the city has the opportunity to come down, inspect it while it's in the factory, before it leaves the factory, so if there's any issues, things that need to be changed, they can do it on the spot.
Would there be any reason why
We don't have to.
you would have to go? I mean, I would imagine that if it's coming off the factory, that it should be ready to go when it gets here, and if
It's
it's
just a
not,
quality
And if
assurance
it's not, they would-
inspection.
fix it for us.
Well, yeah, Yep.
Okay,
And the road rescue is a 16 out of 17 because.
it is a 16. The positive there is that it's available. If we have a signed purchase agreement tonight, we can have it within 120 days.
What's the old one that
The
we're
2003.
3? It is a 3, okay.
So-
And what's the other one, 10 or 11?
Miles on there?
It says both on the door. It says both 2010, 2011.
The chassis is a 2010, the box is a 2011.
How many miles on that one?
Close to 50.
53, I believe.
That's on the newer one?
That's
How about the older one?
Close to 100.
100,000 miles? Okay. So it doesn't owe us anything?
No.
It's been a good,
It
Good
earns us.
well, no, you know what I mean.
Yep, he does. Any questions? Any wishes? Or anything else you want to?
I have, like I said, I have a video of the power load system for us. And I have pictures of the graphics if you want to see them while we're looking at.
Well, I think it's gotta be better than what we have now. 'Cause that-
Okay, it's also a four-wheel drive. It's a
Oh.
type 1 ambulance, it's not a type 3. We currently have type 3 ambulances, which have the short cab, more, it's a shorter looking vehicle. The type 1, the reason we're requesting the type 1 is that we want to go to the Cummins engine with the Allison transmission, and it's four-wheel drive. I.e., if we had to go to Medelia this winter, our ambulances aren't making it.
so they're not full growth.
No,
The ones we
we
currently.
currently have no four-wheel drive ambulances.
Okay.
So something's no fun to drive in the winter time.
No, they
There
get
probably isn't really in this country too many four-wheel drive ambulances at this time,
Actually, there's quite a few.
is there?
The same ambulance that we're requesting, Virginia has 3 of them. They have a 620 square mile service area, and they recommend them highly. I have a friend from the National Guard that actually works there full time, so I've actually seen them, and then we also did have that ambulance in a demo model come down for road rescue.
You said these are longer, though, the whole.
It is longer.
It'll fit in our garage.
It'll fit in the garage. We won't have a lot of room to spare, but it will fit.
How much longer is it than what we have existing now?
13 inches.
Okay, so it's not a ton.
I'll move to accept the bid from Everest Emergency Vehicle.
Road rescue. Don, is there a second?
Second.
Donnie, any further discussion? Anything you want to add?
No, sir.
All in favor, signify by show of hands. Opposed? Carried unanimous. I'm sorry, did you guys want to add anything?
No,
else?
we thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks to all of you for your dedication, hard work, let's pass it on to the rest of your members as well, on behalf of the community and us and everyone.
It's ironic it's National EMS Week and we get approved, so we appreciate it.
Very good, thank you. Okay, 13B, subordination agreement.
Alright, we've received a request from James Osmondson to subordinate a small city loan that he took out in 2012. It's a deferred forgivable loan at the end of 10 years. He's currently refinancing his original mortgage with a no cash out refi. So the subordination agreement they're looking for your approval on is to place the refinancing mortgage in first position, and our position would remain the same at second position.
This property is in Sleepy Eyes, that's how we got this program, is we cooperated with Sleepy Eyes, we would not have been awarded the money we would have gotten. Get more points, we added, property with the city. Have they looked at it, city or don't take any attention to
They
this?
have not looked at it.
Because we're so administrative, we get 10 or 15% to do. Yeah, whatever the percentage is, okay. And there's no cash out, you said.
Correct.
Okay, okay. This is not, okay, also. Hello?
Second.
Josh, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, thank you. James. Okay, bike trail overlay rate.
I requested, excuse me, I requested quotes to overlay, do a 2-inch overlay on the bike trail from Nita Onan's property, which is on the south end of Memorial Drive, all the way to 6th Ave, or 7th Avenue on the north end. And the prices came in from Ground Zero and from M&R. They are, at this time, they're the only two pavers that have got pavers small enough to run inside the existing trail.
You got the plan up yet?
Now plants are open, yes.
What do you recommend?
I would recommend going a little bit than them.
They've done one for
They've done a lot of work for us.
I move we accept both the
Josh,
Second.
Ron, any further discussion? What do we have in the budget?
There was 10 in the budget, and we're gonna take 10 out of, blacktopping, because the price of oil is going down, our asphalt prices are better, and so we're hoping to get down.
Okay. Any further discussion?
The M&R says that any landscaping, black dirt, sod, et cetera, would be extra.
That
Do you,
is
you don't
correct.
plan on, I mean,
No.
there wouldn't be any reason why we need to consider there might be another 5,000 stuck in there.
There will be none.
Okay,
They both of them came and looked at the job, we walked through it with both of them. They have to move some rocks to get blacktop in and out, but other than that, there's no dirt work. They're gonna mill all the lips so that we don't have any trip hazards, and put about 2 inch overlay.
What's their timeframe?
About 90 days. Unless something happens, but with the rain, it's pushing everything back, so.
how often do we have to do this?
Well, this will be the first overlay on that project, just that,
On the east side?
on the east side, yes. We, try and seal coat it every other year. So this will do this for this year, and we'll seal coat it next year.
Because these are the only two companies that have something small enough,
That is
Is it-
correct.
gonna come to the point where it's obsolete to have
No.
this?
Well, they're still doing 8-foot trails, it's just that to get the pavers down to that small,
Okay,
most of your contractors have larger pavers, the smallest they go is 10 foot, so. And our trail is 8 foot wide, so.
well, the trail that we get eventually over to Ormsby area also be 8 foot?
That I couldn't tell you. I do not know. Something I could find out, but at this time I do not know how
good
wide.
question for the county.
Yeah. I know standard's 8 foot, but
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed, motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Golden Lake. Wastewater rate study. All right. There.
So, good evening to the council. A number of months ago, council did authorize us to proceed with a wastewater rate study, which we met with staff, have reviewed, developed the proposed rates. We were looking to meet with the industry, that has not occurred yet, but I want to present what our findings are today. So the goals of the rate evaluation, simply obviously look at your revenue requirements, make sure that the city's generating enough revenue, both for current and for the projections. Some things we included in the projections were the Highway 4 project that's upcoming, so including the additional bond payments for that. Flipping to page 2, looking at a little bit of just existing information. Typical user rates, both for commercial and residential. The residential rates, base fee is $22.75. With average usage, that turns into a $30 to $35 typical bill. The industrial billing system, the minimum monthly charge is around $3,600. Again, depending how much you're using that month, that bill is typically a little bit higher based on actual usage. Looking ahead at the changes, which would be page 3, which I think is where a little more useful information is. What we've looked at is a 6-year rating or projection for rate increases or rate changes. Assuming no residential increase in billable flows, looking at a flat population for the city. Right now, also assuming no industrial flow changes. Smithfield hasn't talked about any expansion or any reduction. Both are critical. Yes, we're making the assumption they're not changing. Looking at the annual operating budget in 2016 was projected at just under 1.4 million. Adding on the proposed debt service for the Trunk Highway 4 project, which is around 155,000. So we have an increase. Second, on top of that, is the fact that ending in 2015, the wastewater budget was in the red by approximately 250,000. So to add that together, it's a fairly significant increase that we're looking at to cover the payment and to offset the shortage that was existing in 2015. Bottom of page 3, we have projected wastewater rate increases over the next 6 years from current up to 2021, both for residential, commercial, and also Smithfield Foods. Smithfield Foods being the city's one current active significant industrial user. So they're obviously one of the major players in the process here. So we're looking at breaking out usage rate increases for all the different billing components the city runs. There's a number of different ways this could be sliced. This is kind of looking at it, reviewing with city staff is one of the proposed methods of ways to increase it. Ultimately, you need to generate X amount of revenue, whether that's putting on a flow charge, on replacement charge. There's a few different ways it can be sliced, but this is what we think is a fair and accurate way for what the city's billing rates are. Page 4 is kind of where the rubber hits the road, what the impact of this is going to be for residents and for the industry. We are looking at, for an average, a fairly typical residential user of 4,000 gallons a month. Currently, the bills are just under $35 a month. Looking ultimately to be increasing the next 2 years up to $51 per month at that point, and then increasing yet again from 2017 through 2021 with an ultimate rate of around $57 a month for an average user. A little bit of the reason for what reason jumps up a little bit fast in 2016-17 is to have some money on hand for the upcoming payment. That would be the Trunk Highway 4 project, and to try and make up the shortfall that exists right now. This council could defer some of those expenses, but they would have to borrow against those funds to make up the shortfall in the interim. So it's a matter of this projection is trying to get the wastewater fund solvent as quick as possible and not be borrowing against any other funds. That's the preferred way to run the wastewater funds. Industrial users are looking at a 45% increase in rates based on the current loadings. Also projected out through 2016 to 2021. So I guess that's the bad news, but the real key fund balances are, right now the fund is $250,000 in the red. With the proposed increases, we're looking at having $190,000 of reserves in the year 2021. And that's operating reserves. That's not long-term reserves. Aiming for a rule of thumb of having 6 months of operating costs on hand. That's still a little bit low for that. So this is not overly aggressive. This is still kind of cutting on the lean side, but it is such a swing from starting a little bit in the red to trying to get out in front in the black, that we didn't want to. I think talking with Joe and staff, wanted to keep it a little bit more on the conservative side. The 6-month operations is a goal. It's a recommendation. That's not a there's no fixed requirement of what that has to be. As long as the city has money in other accounts to cover, should there be a major shortfall or major unknown expense that they can reimburse, you don't necessarily have to have any minimum amount of reserve or maximum. But that's a rule of thumb is 6 months. I think it's kind of, most planners would recommend that range up to even 12 months. So that in a nutshell is what we have. We put together, this is all contained in a spreadsheet. This has been reviewed with Mark and Joe. So the city will have that spreadsheet. We would recommend, on an annual basis, to review this. As industrial loads go up or down, that's going to affect the revenue. It also affects plant operating costs, but if loads drop dramatically, revenue may drop more than what the operating costs do, and vice versa. It may. So we want to look at it on a yearly basis. Particularly the loss of one of the other industries the city's had. We did probably throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in some of the financing, because the loads went down and the operating costs probably went down, but not as much as the revenue went down. So we'd recommend looking at this on a yearly basis to make sure it keeps up. Maybe a minor adjustment depending on what the final amount is for the Trump Highway 4 project that's off a little bit from what the projected $155,000 annual payment would be.
Smithfield Foods is have increased 50 to 60 jobs in the last 120 to 180 days. So some of that taken into consideration.
That was not taken. We're assuming that they're holding the 2015 loan. So that would be, if they increase, that's good news for the city. It's going to ultimately be lower. It would be good for them because it's a lower unit cost. But it's also good for the city because there's more load coming in, more revenue from Smithfield.
Some of them were like before the end of 15, so part of it would have shown.
Some of that was probably in there a little bit. If it's in the last, if it's in 15, it would have been partially included, but if it was 16.
I'd say half was 15.
Yeah.
How we compare to other communities in the area as far as, I mean, I know ours is a little bit more because we just redid our plant, so we had some increases there, but again, we're seeing a substantial increase again here.
What is a common rate in communities around here? We're seeing usually communities that haven't done any projects in the recent past that are in the $30, $40 a month range. Anything with a newer project, we're looking at $50 to $60+ a month is very common. And I can provide Joel some background information on some information that we've collected, because that's the common question we got on all projects. So that's what I'm giving you based on my experience. We have that extra tabulated and forward some of that to Joel for.
In your complete report that we good to have, because we've had that in the water and in the electric, the comparable cities to see exactly where we rank and everything. So if it's in the report, that's great. If not, we need to have it in there
We will have that in.
to support everything when we go and visit with the industry.
Any other questions from council on the, it's not great news, but trying to bring the wastewater budget back into being self-sufficient. I guess the good news would be if it is self-sufficient, that's a little less borrowing from whatever funds we're covering shortfalls, which should help with some other funds.
And we have a requirement for a PFA loan to be 105% of
Yes.
revenue to expense, so we have some PFA requirements that we have to adhere to.
Yes.
Any questions from anybody? Good.
Thank you very much.
For the report, yeah. And again, look at the surrounding communities, make sure they
Yes,
have
we'll have that in there. We're also hoping to meet with the industry, with Joel and Mark. For all of that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Lake Department employee authorized personnel committee to complete interview and offer positions.
The individuals that we have narrowed it down to, 2 of them work for companies that have 10-hour day work week, so the only day they're available is this Friday for interviews, or any Friday. So we've scheduled interviews for this Friday for those 3 competent individuals, and would like the city council to authorize personnel committee, once they've completed those interviews, to offer the job to a qualified candidate.
I guess I'm wondering why this was brought to us. They come to, the department heads come to us when they wanna post for a job. And I guess about the first time I can remember us giving an okay to go ahead and hire. I mean, that isn't that the personnel committee's job?
typically the personnel committee meets and brings it to the council.
Yeah.
That's why we brought it tonight, because we're not gonna be able to meet till this coming Friday. We're just trying to speed it up instead of waiting 2 weeks to offer it. That was the only reason. Otherwise, you're right.
Well,
No, it's okay, go ahead.
well, the personnel committee meets, makes a decision, comes to us, tells us who it is. So why are they, I mean, I guess I don't understand why they have to ask our permission if they are gonna hire somebody to this committee.
Because the council will, at a meeting, formally make a motion to approve the hiring of that individual. So it is on the council minutes that John Doe has been hired by the city to fill a position.
So we're doing that basically sight unseen without,
If you approve it, and if not, it'll just come back in 2 weeks for you.
That would give us a jump, a 2-week jump on having an individual in that position, which we've been running without for a while. Correct?
Correct.
Is that the reasoning?
That's entirely up to council.
I'll move to authorize.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Okay. Good. Let me see, I got a call yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, yesterday must have been, about, garage sale signs on boulevards. Really called, and, we addressed this a couple of years ago, or they're not supposed to be, if it's personal garage sales, they're not supposed to be out on the boulevard, so we'll have Bill Miller look at the signs that are out there, and if they're there, we need to stick them up, if they're on the boulevard, so just as a reminder to everybody listening.
what about the ones that are on all the utility poles, the light poles?
Same
Are we gonna remove those?
We have
Actually, what we do is we remove them and send a letter to the individual informing them that that is a violation.
Well, we must have been pretty lax in the past, cause I've been out and about, and there's plenty of signs, and they've been there through the sale, so.
let me see, coffee hour yesterday, Polo's building, all decorated, got a compliment on that,
So, that's good.
hot dog days is this Saturday from 11 to 1. Is Doc really gonna make them, Nick?
Not this year. I know he has in the past. I'm sure he'll be eating some of that.
And EDA Apartments, thank you, EDA Apartments. EDA Apartments, we're already addressing that to replace the concrete. Bid opening for Highway 4 is this Friday, May 20th. We got some subcontractors that are all repairing the lawns, if you look past those BP C66, it's from last year, from Mediacom, Centerpoint, CenturyLink, doing sidewalk streets, repairing lawns. If anybody had any questions, last Sunday there was a controlled fire on First Avenue South across from the big department, project cleanup, lawn mowing, grass mowing is, a couple complaints is going out in the street, and Bill is out addressing that and sending notes. County hazardous waste materials drop is this May 25th at the county shop from 3 to 6 p.m. So May 25th, 3 to 6 p.m. for hazardous waste. Thanks Linda for the coffee and cookies. Yeah.
No.
Anybody can handle it? Right.
I want to thank the water department, the light department for all the additional help they've been giving my department to try and caught up after all this rain. So,
Mark. Get back, fish cleaning station, you got the Raptors up.
it's coming. We're working on it as much as we can.
What goes on the top? Steel?
We're gonna put OSB on it, and then they're gonna put steel on it. Yep. Everything will be covered in steel when we're done.
Bishop. Mark. Correct.
Ray, how's it coming out at Memorial Park with that baseball field that we're working on? I mean, what are you guys looking at? Somebody was asking me.
Well, we've been out there the last couple of days and trying to get the loader stuck and playing in the mud.
So just kind of waiting for the weather to.
Well, actually, we're hauling fill in around the shelter and getting landscaping done around the shelter. We got all the concrete removed from the old shelter, and that's been roughed in, and we're waiting for it to dry now so we can till it up and get it ready for seating. And from there, Les finished pouring concrete at the south side skating rink, hopefully tomorrow morning, he's got some curb and gutter put in, but the sidewalk's all in. Hopefully we'll move down there and do some dirt work right down there, and then we will be putting up the new basketball hoops, so. And that'll be all up and operational. We got a lot of grass seed to put down, but. And then we'll be working on the ball field as the weather cooperates.
Okay, thanks.
Mark, are you still looking for a graffiti person? Still, yeah, investigating that, okay. Very good. Linda?
Are y'all back here? Trying. The movie this weekend is Mother's Day. It is rated PG-13. And Mondays, May 23rd, we at 3:45 we're going to be planting flowers. Here you got the little ones from Little Red Caboose are coming, and Becky's going to give them some lessons on flower planting. This is going to be interesting.
It'll be fine. Thanks, Linda.
So moved.
Motion? Jamie, just a minute there. You have anything? Nope. Don't seem to be that long a report. Okay. Motion, Josh? Thanks everybody for coming. Remember Hot Dog Day, 11 to 1 this Saturday. Thanks very much.
Let's back the bids on that.
So much for
The story.